Hey everybody, we are back. It's been a while. I've had some travels. We typically record on Thursday, and I've had multiple trips. I got stuck once. It's been probably a good month, right, since
Yeah.
we've done a recording. But we actually did measurements pretty recently, and that was pretty exciting. So let's catch up.
Yeah,
What's been going on?
I needed those measurements. I think you get to a point where you just want to see. You want to see exactly what you're waiting to see,
Yep.
and then when you don't see it, you start to think you just want to quit. And
Kind
I
of
don't. I don't want to quit, but your brain is saying,
right.
"Just eat the cookies. It's not working anyway."
And it's interesting because typically at home, the only thing you have is a scale,
Scale
and the scale just wasn't moving like you were expecting.
2 pounds. It's
So
been 8
yeah,
weeks.
yeah. So we did a body count. We did another sonogram, and and you dropped, what was it, 4% body fat, like.
Yep, 4% body fat.
And we put on a handful of muscle.
You had calculated it as losing 8 pounds of fat
Right.
and getting 4 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, 4 or 6 pounds of muscle. Yeah,
And clearly that would not show on a scale.
right. Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah,
it was what I needed to hear.
Right.
To not go home
And it's funny because it's like one of those things, like, even though, and you wear mostly workout pants, so it's hard to tell. But you throw on a pair of jeans and they do fit differently. But then you see the scale and you're like, well, maybe the jeans are just worn in.
Yeah, you make up excuses. Like, your brain really, really can be creative sometimes.
Totally.
In trying to throw you off track.
So I think that's a great lesson for everybody. Obviously we can do measurements, but it's not so much about going and getting a professional body composition done. It's just about paying closer attention to the changes that are happening. More energy. Your strength has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
And if those things are happening, then the weight loss is going to follow. Putting on muscle, obviously losing body fat, clothes are different. So you really got to pay attention. Pictures are helpful too. We can see the difference in the pictures. So having that systematic way of tracking and not just looking at that damn scale, which will just drive you insane.
I put it away. I finally just, as much as I was like, I don't really care about the scale, I weighed myself every morning. And generally I'd write it down every Thursday. For some reason, since before babies, Thursday morning was a weigh-in day for me. Okay. But then it would be like, oh, I can't wait for Thursday. And then I'd get on, and it was so disappointing. So the scale's gone. It's in the basement. I'm done with it.
Out with the scale. All right. What else has been going on? Workouts have been going pretty great. We've had a few snowstorms and shit, but, for the most part, that's been going great. Nutrition, what were you scored as on a 1 to 10?
I'm probably a 6.
Yeah.
Oh, mostly because I'm eating a lot better than I was, but it's still not where I want to be.
Yep. So, and that kind of, we didn't pre-plan this question. We never pre-plan any of these things. So here's an example. I'm going to kind of give a lesson to you and to them at the same time. My guess in knowing you and how hard you are on yourself, your 6 is probably you being hard on yourself. You're probably closer to more like a 7 or an 8. So, because you've been posting recipes, taking pictures, right? So that's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Something we do in our private group. People are posting recipes. I love the big the post you put yesterday for your detox bag.
Oh my gosh, that
pounds of baking
soda. And it's so funny because all the years that I'd walk through Costco and go, who in the world needs these huge bags of baking soda? Because you usually buy a box.
Right.
I put 2 in my cart because I've been without for a week.
Yeah.
Like, I need my baking soda.
Need my detox bag.
Yeah, I love them. And what I'm doing now is putting that in the kids' bath as well.
Oh, yeah?
So that they get a little dose. It's obviously not as hot as you can stand water because they wouldn't sit in that. But Sophie's like, oh, I love playing with the salt and playing with the baking soda. And I figure they're getting a little benefit.
They're getting some benefit out of it too. Absolutely getting the detox. So if you guys don't know what a detox bath is, and if you're watching this, just Google it because it's really, really good for you. Very relaxing, obviously. And then just detoxification.
My biggest battle is comforting myself with like a familiar food. Like, I'm just going through some stuff that's just running me through like a grater or a meat grinder. And it's so weird how every time I just go back to, I just need this, and then it's just going to make me feel better, and then the day's going to be better, and I don't know how to break that. I don't know how to not do that.
I say,
because at that point in time, I'm literally feel like I'm on the verge of like a nervous collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And having that treat makes me feel better.
Yep.
And maybe that's just the point in my life right now that I'm at. And it's just like with parenting, they said you're going to have some coping days.
Yeah.
And sometimes the kids are going to get a few more television shows.
Yep.
Some days maybe I'm going to have extra stuff.
And that's where, like, so a great thing that you can do in that case is, so, you know, you've heard the term paleo is obviously really like the buzzword right now. And it's a great way to eat, you know, it's a proper way to eat. But there's now, you know, because we have those bad days, or just our society is very much like baked goods, desserts, you know, we're so used to that. And to get someone to go from eating one way and say, hey, okay, now you can only eat meat and vegetables, you know, it's like, well, okay, that's real exciting. You know, even though we have great recipes and all that stuff, sometimes you just want that comfort food. So what's becoming more and more on the market now is there's a tremendous amount of paleo treats. Now, you see in our group, we have a lot of people who are sharing different paleo, like, cupcakes and breads and, you know, different treats. But then you got to go, you know, you're feeling down, you got to go friggin' bake one. Right? I'm going to go bake a cake, you know, or bake a paleo muffin. So we've actually been, you know, trying out some different things, and I'll give you guys a tip. Paleo Treats, they've got like these Mustang bars, they've got brownie bombs, they've got, you're like no, it's a brownie bar. That
sounds good.
They've got, I forget what the other one is called. It'll come to me, but it's like my favorite one. It's and it's like they're like this big. I mean, they're big.
So satisfying.
Satisfying, and this one, it's basically like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Yeah, exactly. But it's, you know, it's all natural. It's sure there's going to be some sugars in there, but it's really natural, really good, high quality ingredients. And it's actually mostly made with healthy fats. Most of the paleo treats are actually good, healthy fats. So they're actually, you know, when we talk about, Janelle and I had this conversation the other day in the car where, and this is perfect for you because we're saying, like, we've got to be careful because if you notice in our Facebook group, everybody's starting to really kind of share like the carrot cakes and the muffins and like, hey guys, be careful because just because it's paleo doesn't mean it's, you know, calorie free, you know, like it's still calories, it's still, and by the way, be careful, a lot of the paleo recipes use a lot of maple syrup and they call it sugar free. It ain't sugar free. But if you actually follow those recipes and it calls for like a cup, I know there are times Janelle puts like a couple of tablespoons and that's really all you need. So that's just a tip. But anyway, we were debating this whole thing of, you know, do we really want our clients, you know, making all these paleo treats and buying, you know, the brand Paleo Treats and these different things. And, you know, this is a perfect example. Number one, I'd rather if you're doing really, really well in your nutrition program and you need that treat, the kids are driving you nuts and you want something, well, would I rather you chow on a bag of chips or a Snickers bar or a paleo treat? Well, definitely a paleo treat. It's going to be much friendlier to your blood sugar, much friendlier, you know, hormonally, all that stuff. But in addition, one thing that Janelle really pointed out was that most of the paleo treats are made with really good quality ingredients. So you're getting your coconut oil, your almond flour, you know, your good healthy fats. So it's not a license to say they're not calorie free, but you're actually getting good nutrition. You know, almond butter and sunflower butter and, like I said, coconut oils and coconut flour, all that stuff. So the ingredients are actually good, and generally speaking, they're not very high sugar. So we're going to have to get you some of those because those work really well.
Well, I made the protein breakfast cookies, which are good. It's just that you kind of got to either freeze them right away so they stay fresh, or they're dry by the second day. But then what I did for my son, who's a really picky eater, is I made, like painfully picky, made the protein cookies. They're in one of the spring break challenge or detox recipes. But then I took coconut butter, so it's called manna. And warmed it up, and then poured it on the cookie, icing. And like smeared in a small amount of maple syrup, like to make a frosting. And I go, look, Joshy, I put frosting on your cookie. And he goes, really? And he tasted it, ate the whole thing, and it was good. And I ate one, and it satisfied my need for cake or something, and it was good.
Yeah.
You know, there were nuts, there was a little bit of raisins, and
So I mean, there's some healthy stuff, and it's just really good
Yeah.
stuff. We've been doing, like, when we went on our cruise, we take the little onesie packets of coconut butter. You get
oh yeah,
you get them at Lake Winds, and you just kind of massage them in your
Yeah,
hands so
yeah.
it loosens up. So it's kind of gross, but I would keep it in my pocket. So like we were at dinner, it actually warms up, right? It's kind of gross, right? But it warms up and keep it in your pocket.
yeah.
It's not like I'm shoving down my pants. I'm just put it in my pocket.
Jeez.
And then we would order fruit. Like specifically, I'd get like a plate of strawberries.
Yeah.
And then just pull that
Also
sucker out, and then douse the coconut butter
Yeah.
liquid, let it sit for a couple of minutes, and it would
It
like,
gets hardened.
hard.
It's like a chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was
No,
really good.
I love coconut butter. And I think it's either coconut butter or coconut manna. They
Yeah.
call it one or the other, but
Right.
it is really, really good. And
Yeah.
it satisfies your need for a jar of frosting when you need a jar of frosting to sit on the couch.
Sometimes
with
Shawna needs a jar of frosting.
and
So-
spoon and frosting.
So there you go, coconut butter. So awesome. So we won't drag on. We'll talk all day. But there's just a couple of lessons. Number one was the whole weight thing. Shawna's made massive changes. You can see it in her body. It's easier for me to see it, than it is for her. That's normal. We can see it in the pictures, and most probably we can see it in the measurements. But then the dietary struggles. We got single mom, business owner, starting a new business. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on. Picky eater for a kid, and just all that stuff. So, look for those paleo treats. Look at those recipes that we have. Follow Janelle on Pinterest. She's got a lot of stuff on there as well. Follow Janelle on Facebook, and just use those treats and realize that, hey, there is good ingredients in here, and this can be my afternoon snack or my whatever kind of thing it is. And then for the coffee drinkers, I'll throw it out there, Chameleon Cold Brew. Hell yes.
Just heard about that yesterday from Janelle.
Yep. So we'll have to talk more about that maybe next time if you try it. We'll talk about making bulletproof coffee with Chameleon Cold Brew.
Bulletproof.
Really good stuff.
I need both.
All right, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Real life, real
Yeah.
Shawna, real Justin. See ya.
Thanks.